living that entrepreneur lifestyle. So help me introduce Rosalie Manansala to the stage. Is my mic working? 1, 2, 1, 2. You guys hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Diane, for the introduction. My name is Rosalie Manansala. I'm grateful and honored to be here with you this morning. It's always been a dream to go back and speak to guys and girls, or men and women like yourself, just to talk about my story in hopes of inspiring and empowering you. So hopefully after hearing me this morning, you guys will be empowered and inspired to go out and chase your dreams. My journey began about 33 years ago when my family moved out here from the Philippines. It was my mother, my 2 older brothers, and myself. And in an effort to be near family, my mother uprooted us in Los Angeles in the Rampart District. And at that time, around the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, the Rampart District was a pretty rough neighborhood. Gang violence, gun violence, you name it, it was pretty prevalent and it was the norm for us. In fact, I remember, looking outside our bathroom window, a typical day would be seeing gang members getting jumped into gangs like it was just a typical day. But I didn't let that deter me, whether it was classmates that I was around that were getting involved with gun violence or being drug addicts or ending up being delinquent. I didn't let that deter me from being ambitious and chasing my goals and chasing my dreams. At a young age, I made an effort to surround myself with great people, whether they're mentors that I worked with or they were classmates that had the same dreams as I was. I was always trying to find great people to be around so that I can emulate them and make something out of myself, more importantly. And that's one thing I would suggest for you guys is, at an early age, surround yourself with great people, people you can emulate, people that inspire you. Because chasing your dreams isn't always going to be easy, but when you're inspired, that's when the magic happens, because when it's tough, but when you have inspiration in you, you just keep going because you feel such energy. And when I say find someone that inspires you, it doesn't mean it has to be someone grand. Maybe not a Bill Gates, not Oprah. It doesn't have to be Mark Zuckerberg. It could be someone in your neighborhood. And for me, that person that inspired me was my mother. She was extremely a hard worker with an impeccable work ethic. She always did what she had, she always made do with what she had to get to a better place. And more importantly, she never gave up. She never gave up on her dream to come to America, and she never gave up on her dream to raise 3 children on her own. Not only on her own, but to give them a better life. And I think she was pretty damn successful. So my message to you guys is, being here, you guys are young, you guys have a whole life ahead of you. Dream big, go after it like your life mattered. Not like your life mattered, but your life does matter. Go after it as if your life, what do I want to say? Depended on it, exactly, thank you. And once you find your passion, be the best that you could be so that no one dead, alive, or ever to be born can do it better than you can. So just to give you guys a brief summary of kind of my career and how I got here, because you're probably wondering, she came from money, or she's probably super, super smart, and that's why, or that's how she became a CPA and, president and CEO of a things about college, but we took it upon ourselves to dream that dream of going to college because we knew that was our ticket out of poverty. And growing up, I was able to get involved with inner city programs, one of them being CFA, which is Search to Involve Filipino Americans. And in this program, I was fortunate enough to get different internships where I was able to work since I was 13 years old, whether it was working for a local or my elementary alma mater to working for the local newspaper at LA Times. And having these opportunities allowed me to get out of my element of the gun violence, the gang violence, and students just without hope. So while I was at my internships, I was able to be around business executives, people that I normally wouldn't be around in my high school or junior high. But I took those experiences and really gave it my best shot. So after getting my internship at Los Angeles Times, I had the opportunity to work for a business management firm that catered to a lot of athletes and entertainers in Hollywood. And I was there for about 5 years while I was finishing up my undergraduate studies. And my senior year, I decided to leave just so I could focus on my studies at Cal State Northridge. And when I left, I got a call from the tax director at the business management firm that says, "Hey, I just got hired by Eli Road, and I'd like you to join me in being sort of my right-hand person to help start up his foundations." And at the time, I had no idea who Eli Road was. I thought it was just another company that I could come work for. And once I did my research, I found out he's one of the wealthiest men, self-made billionaire in the world, and probably one of the most powerful people in Los Angeles. So I took the job, and in my mind, I think I got that opportunity because I always gave my best at my previous job. I always showed up, gave it my 110%, and so people saw that. When I worked there, I rubbed elbows with Nobel Peace Prize winners. I remember attending our first board meeting, and all my colleagues were Stanford graduates, Yale graduates, Harvard graduates, and I'm sitting there thinking, gosh, I don't even have a degree yet. I'm still working on my undergrad. This guy hired cream of the crop employees. And I tell you that story not to brag, but to hone in on the fact that it doesn't take a Harvard graduate or a Stanford graduate to get a pretty damn awesome job, but rather working hard, showing up every day, giving it your best shot, having a great work ethic, and making a name for yourself. When you're out in the workforce and you're creating a name for yourself, it's a small world. What makes me successful in my business today is the fact that I've been able to leverage my relationships through my career since I was 13. I still keep in touch with my mentor when I was at the Los Angeles Times. And it's so important in this day and age, not only to get an education, but to really, really foster great relationships, whether it's somebody in the mailroom or if it's a president and CEO of a company, because you just never know when you'll run into them again. So if there are 3 things that I can share with you this morning that you guys can walk away with, it would be this. Number 1 is to just find your passion and just go after it like no other. Because when you're not passionate about what you do, it's hard to really be successful. The second thing is, once you find your passion, you should strive to be the best that you can be so that no one dead, alive, or ever to be born can do it better than you can. And number 3, and I quote my mother on this, is you never forget where you came from, because you'll never get to where you're going to. Thank you.
Okay, I'm inspired. I'm inspired, and one of the things that Rosalie said, I've heard it before, and I'm going to share it again, is don't let your past define your future. And I almost want today to kind of change how we think of ourselves. And so today you are no longer high school students. You are no longer MBAs. Today, and from this moment forward, you're young entrepreneurs. And to get us started, I'd like us to welcome Professor Cox